Hi everyone, my name is Artyom, and today we are gonna look at our FaceBuilder add-on for Blender. I assume it was a long-awaited stream because we have many questions. How to use it in Blender, how to install it in Blender, why it's like everything, all kinds of questions. My role in KeenTools is quite difficult to explain. I called myself humanizer, so I'm like you in KeenTools, your site in KeenTools. I often reply to your emails and try to push the user opinion of our users into the development process. So yeah, let's see. I'm going to answer your questions, of course. You can ask them in the chat on YouTube here. You can also come to our Discord channel and ask your questions in there. They will be all like shown to me here in my chat. And yeah, I'll be happy to answer all questions today. This is our streams plan. We already covered the left side, which was PinTool, GeoTracker, FaceBuilder in Nuke, and now we are coming to Blender with FaceBuilder. And after that, we turn back to Nuke with FaceTracker and some other difficult, complicated cases that people are working with in Nuke. But today it will be FaceBuilder in Blender. And why did we came to Blender with FaceBuilder? Because, as you know, we started with Nuke. Our first product was GeoTracker. It allowed tracking geometry in Nuke. You can import any kind of 3D model into Nuke and then track it and then use it in your VFX job. But then we saw that people are usually using GeoTracker to track faces because, you know, movies are about people, and yes, and they were tracking faces with GeoTracker and static models, and that wasn't the right way. So we created first the FaceBuilder, the tool to create models of actors in an easy way without 3D scanners and stuff like that. And then we created FaceTracker that could morph the model to track facial expressions. And then we noticed some demand from users of other software like Blender and Maya and 3D Max and whatever else. People wanted our tools in here and there, and we are really we already have a question about GeoTracker for Blender. We think it's possible, and at some point I think we'll come with GeoTracker to Blender as well. But yeah, we started with FaceBuilder because it was like a 3D tool. It wasn't like tracking tool or something that you would use only in VFX. And now we see that people use it for like sculpting, to like kickstart their sculpting projects, to for 3D printing and anything else, for all kinds of silly videos on Instagram. We always are happy to watch them, so please tag us if you share something in social networks. So yeah, we came to Blender because it's free, and it like with the version 2.79, it has got the revamped interface, and it's really now a really promising tool that we want to see, like the whole 3D world coming, like paying attention to Blender now, because it's awesome. So yeah, let's start with installation, because it's often a problem for many people. So we will see it in all details right now. So what you need to do is first come to our website, just keentools.io. You can use this button, you can go to Products, FaceBuilder for Blender, and here's the big black button that leads to the latest version of FaceBuilder for Blender. Now it's being downloaded as a zip file. Here a note for our macOS users. Often in macOS you get zip files automatically unpacked once you click here. So don't click here, go straight to your downloads folder and just Blender and find the zip file and install it, because to install the add-on in Blender you need to install a zip file. Maybe they will change it in future, hopefully. So for macOS users we made a workaround, so they download not a zip file but DMG file, which is not being automatically unpacked but mounted as a disk drive, virtual disk drive. So you come to Blender and find, open this settings, preferences, go to this add-on tab, which is here, and press this install button and go. In macOS users you will see a FaceBuilder drive in here, but here we in Windows and we go to our downloads folder, and here's FaceBuilder for Blender. Before we hit our KeenTools core, which is, we'll talk about it a bit later, what is it and how to install it. Many people downloaded the core library as well, and they often try to install the core library as an add-on. You don't need to install core library as an add-on. You need to install FaceBuilder add-on, which is, please pay attention to this. So you select this file, which is called KeenTools, the version number, FaceBuilder for Blender. That's the add-on. You install it, it appears here. Then you need to tick this checkbox, and now add-on is switched on, and you can already see it here. But it needs a core library because we can't ship it with our add-on because of Blender licensing restrictions. So yeah, you need to install it separately. You can press this button to come to this settings pane. Have to accept this license agreement. You can read it. It's pretty standard license agreement. And then you can install it. The recommended option is install online. Push this button. Here you can select the nightly version or latest stable version. What's the difference? The latest stable version is it is what it is. It's the version that we released recently, and we have tested it, and there's nothing. There should be no bugs, no problems in there. But if you encounter some, feel free to drop us an email. If you want to test some new features and new stuff we are working on, we have nightly builds. They are being built almost every night once we push something in our code, some test features. But here's one moment that you have to know. If you want to try a nightly version, you have to install the nightly version of the add-on. Now we install the stable version of the add-on, so we can only install the latest stable. Later, I think we will remove this menu at all, so you wouldn't need to think about it. Just press install online and it installs. Now it's being downloaded, like that, and yeah, it's installed. Some users, at this point, some users are again being a bit frightened that it asks for a license already. It doesn't ask you for a license straight away. If you installed it first time, you will see the lines here that will tell you that you have a trial license for like 14 days or 10 days or whatever else. If you have installed a license, which was installed here before, we can see that license is active. It's a personal license, and we have almost a year left. Those are like different ways of installing a license. They're probably quite simple to understand. And yeah, We have a question. Do you know any simple way to generate 52 blend shapes needed for ARKit tracking on an iPhone? I found a Blender plugin that uses some AI to do it, but not sure if it will work. At this time, we know we've been contacted by the developer of FaceIt add-on. It's called. Perhaps we can find it on the internet. Let's see. Yeah. Perhaps it does what you've been asking to, and at some point it will support, or maybe it already supports our add-on, but not like in a, you need to do some manual adjustments afterwards. But yeah, it's something that will work, and we are planning to implement our own set of blend shapes that will be compatible with ARKit, I think, as well, maybe with some other libraries and softwares. But at this point in time, I think you can try FaceIt. Let's get back to installation. Yeah, that was the online way of installing the add-on, which is the simplest one, and we recommend to use this way because it's usually this works well. We can back to our settings, and let's try to install it like in offline mode, because sometimes you don't have access to internet on the machine where the Blender is installed, because I don't know, maybe some studio restrictions or something like that. Maybe you work on a movie or a project with strict NDAs and whatever else, and that happens. So let's remove the add-on. And here, one thing about updating the add-on. At this point in time, if you want to install the new fresh version of the add-on, you need to remove the old version, close Blender, because otherwise the old version will be used again. So you relaunch Blender, go to Preferences, and install the add-on again, the new version, of course. And then again, you have to turn it on, accept the license, and now let's install the core library from the disk in offline mode. So now we need this KeenTools core library, zip file. You can download it at our website as well. Let's see, I need a browser. So we go here, go to download section this time, and here you can find the core library. And here it's a little bit more complicated because the add-on itself is multi-platform. It doesn't care what operating system you use. But the core library depends on the operating system. So if you want to install the add-on on macOS, you download the macOS file. If you want to install it on Windows and Linux, you download the proper core library files. And here it's again a zip file, so be careful and don't unpack it. Here you can select the version. The nightly version is hidden here. Same for the add-on. If you want a nightly version, you go to download section, FaceBuilder for Blender, and then you select the version. The nightly version is here. So yeah, let's pretend we downloaded file. So we come here and we select this core zip file. It's installed. Now we have it all. And yeah, you can even you can either press this button here to see this toolbar. You can press N button on keyboard, it will pop up, and you can use Shift A mesh and add FaceBuilder head. But you see, we have some people who emailed us and told us that it's what's happening. Of course, you need to delete this default cube before. So let's pretend we don't have a FaceBuilder head. We have this initial scene. So you delete, select this box, and you can either right-click and press delete, or you can press Shift-A, or just A, sorry, which will select everything, the camera, the default light source, the cube, and then you can press X, which is the shortcut for deleting, and then you press delete. Now you have a clean scene. I see we have other questions. Okay, yeah, it's just compliments. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate our community. It's awesome to build things for community like this. And yeah, let's create the head. It's being created. Now we have it here, and yeah, let's run through the UI sections. Yeah, here's the button that I told you before. It's the shortcut for the settings. If you need to, for example, install the license or remove the add-on to install a fresh version, you can press here. Not going to here, and looking for KeenTools add-on in there. Just press here and it will just drop you in there. Then we have a camera section. It will be available only when you have photos here. Then this is your main button. Add images. It opens the file dialog. Then you can set up the model. You can switch on and off different parts if you don't need them. You can, when you're modeling, you can switch off some parts. If you turn them on later, the model will be correct. Nothing will break, so you can turn them on and off at your own will whenever you want. Here's the rigidity settings that we'll talk about it later, but briefly, it's it tells FaceBuilder how deformable the model is. The lower the number here, the more soft the mesh is, so it's easier to shape. The greater the number, the less soft the model is. And usually it works well with automatic settings, so you don't need to think about it. This reset button just resets the shape. You can, yeah, and these panels we can look at them with photos being loaded. So let's start, for example, with something. Oh yeah, let's start with talk about how to take photos. And here we are loading them. You see this. We have the new panel EXIF. It will show you EXIF information for the photograph you've opened here. If this information is present, EXIF is perhaps everyone knows what is it, but just in case, it's some meta information that photo camera stores inside a photo file. And we use it to, there's a lot of different kinds of information, but we use focal length and the sensor size. It's not always available, but when it's available, it helps to set up the virtual cameras for every photo. Like you can see, once we loaded photographs, now we have cameras created for every photo we have here. And yeah, as we jump here, we can see, again, we can see the camera settings here. Previously, you need to set up it manually, but in the fresh 2.1 version, we made it all automatic, so you usually don't need to think about it. If you have EXIF in your photographs, it will automatically detect everything and set up the cameras. If you don't have EXIF, it's better, and you don't know the camera settings like the focal length and the sensor size, it's better to rely on focal length estimation. You can turn it on and off here. And you only in the case when you shot your photographs and the EXIF information isn't stored in there, but you know the sensor size of your camera and the focal length that you used to shoot your photographs, then you can open this panel here and type in the focal length in 35mm equivalent. So if you, for example, use a Micro Four Thirds camera, which has a crop factor of 2, then you need to double your focal length. So if, say, for example, you use a lens with 25mm, like a fixed lens, then you need to multiply it by 2, and so you have 50mm here. Yeah, and here you can find some more advanced settings, but we don't recommend getting in there, but you can if you are brave enough, and if you want to control everything. It's possible. Yeah, let's move on, and what's next? Yeah, sometimes you, let's see, these panels, you can set up pin size, like, let's talk about them later. First start with wireframe. Sometimes you can see the wireframe clear enough, so you can go to this panel here, which is called wireframe, and you can make it less, remove, like increase the opacity or lower the opacity so you can see it cleaner. Or like, you can always press tab button to hide it temporarily, and then it reappears. You can see all hints here in the lower part, and then you can change colors like manually, or you can use presets. Sometimes they help. Like, let's keep the standard one, and you can turn it off, the highlighting the different parts. The pins panel. Let's start pinning. To see a pin, you create a pin by clicking anywhere on the mesh. If you click here, pins are not being created, of course. Then you create a pin and you start dragging it. It's usually, let's talk about pin size. Pin size, you can increase it like to ridiculous size. You can keep it small. You can change the handle radius. It's the radius, like if I have really small pin size, I still can use like take this pin like here. Perhaps it's pixels, so yeah, pay attention to them. Let's keep the settings and remove it here. Usually people start with the tip of the nose. It's totally okay to start with. Then you better to another point. Yeah, another important thing to know is that it's usually better to start with a 3/4 view, which is this, because especially if you have, like, if you can find only one photo on the internet of the person, or if you have limited time to shoot someone, shoot 3/4 view first, then switch to like frontal and side views. And here's another important thing: if you shoot someone, if you shoot them yourself, make sure the person is not turning their head sideways or upwards or downwards, because when a person turns their head in such a way, the muscles here are straightening, and it slightly changes the shape of the head, and you don't want this. So we'll say this: these photographs are photographs that were taken wrongly. So let's remove them from here, all one by one. You can do this all the time. You can open another file like here, like replace the image. You can replace this image. We delete them all and we add images again. And now we come to the proper photographs of the same person. It sometimes takes some time to load photos because we are reading, when photographs are loading, we are reading EXIF data and setting up the cameras. So we have the same person, but now the person stays still, and the cameraman, it was me, is running around the person and shooting the person from different sides. And here again, I asked her to decline her head, and it was something wrong. You need to just use a chair to be a little bit higher, and then crouch to be a little bit lower to shoot the photographs from the top and from the bottom. But let's start pinning on this set of photos. So we move the nose first, and then usually it's better to start with corners of the eyes. And when you start pinning, it's usually better to take keep the maximum distance between pins, because if, for example, you create another pin here and start rotating, it's really imprecise because the distance is small, and you need to be really it's difficult. So if you create a pin here, you can move it more smoothly. We have questions, I see. How to deal with lens distortion? I will tell you how to deal with lens distortion a little bit later, because we presume that you have no lens distortion in a photograph that you load here. Usually that's not a problem, because let's talk about it later, just a little bit later. Creation process takes too much time to complete with C. There are many ways to do the same work, and so you can use Character Creator Free to create models. You can use our add-on. There are other things to do the same kind of work, but it depends on the project. It depends on the task that you need to do, and yeah, it's always different. If Character Creator is good for you, that's great. Yeah, that's just another option. Yeah, where have we stopped? Yeah, pinning. Yeah, here it's a perfect case. Again, it's not perfect. Let's find a perfect case, because I don't like it. She's inclining her head. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, we have this person. Her name's Lisa. She's a great musician and helps us a lot with her photographs. And yeah, here you can see I was crouching, I was taking photographs from the top, and Lisa stayed still, not moving at all. And that's the perfect case. And in this perfect case, you want to keep the focal length the same, and you want to shoot the photographs with the same camera. And another thing to note is that you want the even lighting. So you can see that there are not so much of the shadows. We can see some, but when you want to create the texture, it's really important to have even light. And basically, that's the easiest place where you can get even light is the shadowed place somewhere on the street in the daytime. If you have overcast, that's perfect. You can just be anywhere. If you have a sun shining in there, then just find a shadowed place and shoot the photographs in there. It will get you pretty good results. Yeah, the question about Nuke 2. Yeah, of course we will go to Nuke after the stream again. We have already covered FaceBuilder and Nuke in our previous stream. You can find the recorded streams in our channel. And we will go back to Nuke in our next stream. But this time it will be face tracker, so we will be making faces and then tracking them. Right, let's start pinning. So I prefer to start with 3/4 view because it gives you information about the frontal view and the side view, and you have depth information. It's from the start you want to roughly place the model and give FaceBuilder the basic understanding of what size it is and what's the proportions are. So from the start, it's better to just run through all the images, spin the model like roughly everywhere, and only then switch to modeling the parts. Here you can see I chose to create pins in inner corners of her eyes. That usually is not the best choice. Like I said before, it's usually better to start with outer corners because you get more distance between the pins, and that should give you better results at the start. But sometimes it works just like that. If you don't see this corner is, we can see it. So we can put this model here, and let's make this wireframe a little less visible so we can see her face. And later, when you it's better to start with corners that usually don't change when the expression changes, and when that you can clearly see. Like for example, if I create pin here on her cheek, I don't know where this pin on the 3D model is on her face, right? So it's impractical to create pins here. So let's probably pin her ears, and then her chin, and then her ear again. And here you can see this hole here in her ear. So FaceBuilder doesn't know about such things, so you don't need to make her ear like this. You need to use your imagination and think like perhaps it will be somewhere here. Because if you do this, it will change the whole model, and perhaps it will give you not really good results. So yeah, in such cases, use your imagination and place pins where you think they should be. Let's move this here. Here on this neutral expression, how I shoot people with neutral expression. Just ask the person to close their eyes, to imagine they're sleeping, and then relax their face totally while their eyes are closed, because they can be focused on their muscles and things. And ask them to pretend they are sleeping, and then slowly open their eyes. Relax it. The person should be totally relaxed. Mouth closed, eyes open, straight pose, sitting or standing, that doesn't matter, but the face should be relaxed, as relaxed as possible. And that gives you the best results. And yeah, here in this ideal case, when she's relaxed, we can place everything quite precisely. We don't know where the head bags ends, so we don't touch it. We just let FaceBuilder decide where it is. In such cases, if the person doesn't have hair on their head, it's perfect. You can model everything. Then let's pin this view again. 3/4. We can see the corner of her eye here. We can use pin here. We can move it here, change it a little bit, and place it here. Perhaps it should be here, and our chin, and then the neck. I think that's okay. We don't need the perfect preciseness right now. Again, we are just placing. After you pinned the 3/4 view, I think in an ideal case, you better switch to views like this, like from the bottom and 3/4 from the bottom, because it gives you even more information. Let's do this. We have here, here, again, corner of mouth, eyebrow. Perhaps that's okay. And let's not do this and this views. Then you can go to the frontal and side views. The problem with those views are that you don't have the information about depth. So it's better to have, I'm jumping here and there, but I hope that's okay. When you change the model on, if you pinned model here and then you switched here and you tweaked it a little bit here and then you went to another photo and tweaked it a little bit here, it's okay that on the first view the model is a little bit is out of place. It's not totally out of place. It just it has changed and it has more information about the face, and you can see it here that we need to move them again. So it's an iterative process. You need to like roughly place the model everywhere. Then you go, for example, to the frontal view after 3/4 views, place everything. You can see it sits pretty well with minimal number of pins. Kind of that. Then we can pin the side views using the corners of her eye. And yeah, and in the case when you don't know how to like place, like if for example, the model was here and you don't know how to turn the model, just pin something like you can take the ear and move them. Like now it's happened. Sometimes it needs like you to rotate the head a little bit, and then you'll find a proper position. So find here, and here, corners, chin, and it's sitting pretty well. Yeah, one of the complicated places is here, under the nose. We are working on a new deformation model and it will be better in the future, but at this point in time you need to like do some, maybe have more pins here. And yeah, it's not always possible to, if the nose is like really edgy, sometimes it doesn't, you just can't make it too edgy, like, and you can use sculpting after you created this model. In future versions, I think we will solve this problem because we always are getting more data, statistical data, and our deformation model becomes better and better. And yeah, let's pin it here. And you can see we don't have a lot of pins, but the model sits already pretty well. It's probably not the most difficult face and head, but yeah. Sometimes you need more pins, sometimes you need less. A couple of words about the quantity of pins. The more pins you have, the more heavy it is on your computer. So, and it's when you have like many pins here and there, then if you, for example, move this pin here and you need to do a lot of small adjustments to make some little differences, and that could be cumbersome. So try to keep the number of pins as minimal as possible. Let's remove them all. We have questions. please consider improving ear details in next versions. Yeah, sure, we are aware of this problem as well. Perhaps we're going to release a new topology in our soonest release, maybe in a couple of months or so. And we'll have low poly model. We'll have this would be the model we have now will be high poly model. We will have mid poly model and low poly model. So probably people from animation and gaming industry will be happy. I hope. Yeah. Let's see. We have pinned a lot of views here, and let's see where we move on later. Yeah, let's just run through all views to check everything is okay. Like you can see, slightly off the place here. So yeah, we are doing this iterative refinement now because we have more information. And we have pinned a lot of views now, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 views, and we can switch to details now. But I can see there's not much to improve. Like for example, that's the possible problem. If you have a pin here, it's probably inadvisable to create another pin here. Sometimes it can help. You can try, but usually it's better to just use this pin here because it's already working on this area. You don't need to create a lot of pins here and then fight with them. Try to keep them at minimum. And we can probably fix the nose as well a little bit. And here. And here. And here. What else? And here. Yeah, let's refine this view. Sits pretty well. Yeah, sits pretty well. And this view, oh yeah, the nose is a little bit out of place here. The advantage of the bottom view is that you can make the nose and the shape here, like this place and the nose. You can do it really precise from the bottom, because when there's just a side view or something like that, it's difficult to understand what's going on here. And maybe for some reason I think I can use. Let's use this view, yeah, too, as well. It should. The more views you pin, the less time you need on the next views. Because, oops. Thank you, Blender. Because the model is like already pretty precise, I'd say, and it sits really well without too much of adjustment. And her chin. But the more views you have, the more photos you have, the more preciseness you can get. I don't think that you need more than 11 photos. Usually even 7 isn't, like, usually it's oh, we can see the problem here. Usually it's enough to have the frontal view, of course, 3/4 from one side, 3/4 from another side. Here everything is okay. Side views from one side and another side. And then some top and bottom shots that will give you some extra information. But the bottom and top shots are, although they can give you really good results, but they are not like essential, I'd say. They are like for people who need extra preciseness. Yeah, let's stop pinning, because it's like you can, you know, it could be, you can do this endlessly. It's like some meditation. Yeah, let's move on, and yeah, let's look at what happened in the scene. As you can see, when we pin the shots, the cameras associated with the photographs are being placed as well. So you're not only changing the shape of the head, you also are placing the cameras. The cameras are like of the photographs that like this is the frontal photograph, this is the 3/4 one, 3/4 two. Those are the side views. So those are the bottom views. And let's say you want to watch the result you have in 3D. What you can do is go to 3D mode. Then you can press Alt-D. Nope, it was not Alt-D, it was Window-D. And, sorry, you press Alt-D, and then you have a clone of this model. And then you can switch back to some of the photographs, and then you can see it here. So if you, for example, move it here, we are changing the camera, so it's probably work better here. You can move it here, and you can see the head. This head moves forth and back because the camera moves when we are changing something. Let's, for example, you can see how it changed. So you can watch the result in 3D like that. And you can delete this. And yeah, let's go to texturing. And we have another question from Wiki Jane. If I want to edit a model, how would I do it? Assume I didn't even. You use built-in Blender functions like sculpting or something else. Like you can, as you can see, we have like. If you go to the edit mode, you can see polygons and you can see the mesh. You can change it manually, and you can even, like for example, we can, for example, do something like this. And so let's return here. Here you can see the model is okay, but if we can change it, for example, we can tweak her things. It's like a proceed. No, it's reset. It means reset. For why? Shouldn't be. Yeah, sometimes you perhaps now we reset the model. Yeah. At this point in time, you need to clone the model, or if you want to make some changes that will persist. Yeah, let's just try. I think it will work like that. If we, for example, I don't know, let's see. That's interesting. Let's move this like that. Oh no, it's a clone. Yeah, it's a clone. It changes the model. Okay. So the model will be, the topology will be reset once we come here and go back. Yeah, it's reset. So you need to do a real clone, which is Shift-D. Then you go to the edit mode and do something like that. Let's pretend this. She's a punk, and that's her hair. Yeah, like that. And then you can use sculpting. You can, for example, go here and change something like that and like that. Do whatever you want using standard Blender capabilities. You can go to the edit mode and select something and delete this part, so the polygons are being deleted. And yeah, just use whatever you have in Blender. You can do this with this head as well if you are like done with pinning and you don't want to pin the model anymore. So you can just do it with this model as well. Yeah. So let's go to texturing. It's an interesting part. First, a couple of notes on the interface, what it all means. We have, first we have different kinds of UVs. And let me show this, perhaps. Yeah, maybe we can show it here. Oh yeah, I have nuke here. So let's see to nuke, it will be easier to see in there. Yeah, we'll come to nuke later. I'll show you some interesting tricks. We have texture builder here. Let's see the texture. This builder here. Texture is being created and created. Yeah, let's see. Now we are using max phase UV. We can use the butterfly, which is default. Just in a moment, we'll see this. It looks like that. And if we, for example, let's try to see it more clearly. Let's try to like that. Does it work? No, it doesn't work. We need to somehow. Okay, doesn't matter. Then we can use the legacy. It was our first UV map that we used. Its advantage, one of the advantages that it has is that it has the minimal distortions. So although you have a lot of parts and it's like not the whole texture, distortions are here at minimum. Then we have spherical map, and I'll show you one trick a little bit later. And then we have max phase. The point of the max phase map is that we have the most resolution here for the phase part, so you can change. Like it's really like has a lot of features here. What we have questions. Is geometry tracking available in Blender version? Not at the moment, but we are. I think the next our add-on for Blender will be face tracker. I can't tell you when it will happen, but yeah, we are moving that direction as well. Are you considering any FaceBuilder related Fox tool? It will be really. Yeah, we are planning to add Fox blend shapes into FaceBuilder pretty soon, I think. Again, no estimate because the development process is really unpredictable, so we can tell you when something happens. But yeah, I think it will happen soon. Maybe in a couple of months, maybe a little bit more. But it's something that we want to implement as soon as possible. Yeah, let's go back to Blender and see how. Yeah, here these two fields define how large is your texture in pixels. Usually it's a square texture, so we can see it here perhaps. Let's select it. We have. Let's go here. Object mode, please. Nope. Let's see. What's wrong? What's wrong? Okay, let's just select A. Yeah. Here's our texture UV map. This is the default UV map. It has the square dimensions, and we can change it here. For example, if we want. Like, for example, if we look at the spherical UV map, it takes a lot of place here, and it's square, and it's distorted. It's really distorted here because it's in square. So we can, for example, keep this high and double the width. So let's, for example, say it's 4000 by 2000. And let's see. Editing, it's didn't update. Oh yeah, we have to change something. No, we have to create a texture. Yeah. Before yeah, when you create to change the to make this changes effective, you need to create the texture. You need to change it. What happens when you click this button, create the texture? You click it and you can select the images that you want to use for texture, because we have it because sometimes you want some pictures to be just a model reference, not a reference for a. No, you don't want to take picture texture information from the photo because perhaps it has different lighting, or it's of really low resolution or something like that. So you can select photographs, and the photographs that don't have pins on them, they are automatically disabled, so they won't be used. Yeah, and we press the OK button and we wait a little bit because this is a time like resource. It consumes some resources, and we it calculates the texture. What it does is it looks to the pictures using those cameras, and it projects the texture on this model using the views and the position of this model in the photo. And yeah, we can see it here. And let's return to dimensions. And now you can see the texture became horizontally like white, not a square. And let's see. So yeah, all this information is here. You can see it. And what it gives you a little distortion, like horizontal distortions here. So it's easier to make it better, perhaps. And let's see what we've got in here in 3D mode. Pretty nice texture. Of course, we have some shadows here because the light was coming from the top on the photographs. You can see all the light is coming from the top, and we have shadows here. And for such cases, we have some advanced features here. They are all experimental, but let's try. First is equalize brightness. What it does, it tries to even the brightness on the different photographs. And let's try. Let's make the texture a little bit smaller so it takes less time. Like 2000 by 1000, create a texture. Okay. Now we wait a little bit. Sometimes it gives really weird results because it's still experimental. And sometimes it gives pretty good results. And we are working on completely new texturing algorithms that will create albedo textures. But it will come sometime soon. As we can see, it has removed some shadows, maybe not here. It's here. The same works with the color. If you, for example, have photographs, which one of them was taken at the, like midnight with a flashlight, and another one was taken during the daytime, and they have different color perhaps, and so this might help. Again, it's experimental feature, so don't expect many things from it. And now let's see what those things do. And for that, we will perhaps use just one photograph, the frontal one. And let's see what happens here with the value of 10. It's the unit of this value is something mystical. You don't need to think about it. The minimum value is 0, the maximum value is 100. When it's at 0, it takes, let's see what it does. Creating the texture. And yeah, it takes all the possible pixel information from the picture, from this frontal picture. Like for example, we have a really narrow angle here, so we can't be sure what color here, what color of the skin we have here, right? And with the angle strictness of 0, we still take this information because we can see this model is like somewhere here, so we can try to take this information. If we go to 100 and create a texture, the algorithm will only take the polygons, the information of the polygons that the camera is looking at 19 degrees. So you see it's not a lot of information here that we can use. And for example, we can, let's create something weird. We can use this expand edges feature, which basically expand edges. Like you see edges are here. What it does, it takes this color here and it just stretches it. So let's see, like 5%. What it does, let's see. Now we will probably see something really bizarre. Oh no, it just even it. You see it. We are like covering the holes and enlarging the texture a little bit here and there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, again, we are coming with a completely new texture and mechanics in closest future. Yeah, what's next? Yeah, an important button here is export button. You can export the texture into a file. Like for example, let's just save. Usually, it's better to use PNG files because these black areas will be transparent and it's easier to work in Photoshop with them, or in GIMP if you prefer open source software. So we can export the texture into a file and it will be just a PNG file. Let's see where it is. Yeah, it looks like just like that. And you can, of course, open this file and let's say Photoshop, fill the gaps, retouch something, and then you can apply this texture back to your model here. And here's how to do this. And let's say we will apply a texture of another human to her model. Because the model is the same, the texture map is the same, why not just add another texture? We go to shading and we go to this node here, and we will just remove this file here and open another file. And we'll go to the let's say this texture. It was looking like that. Let me show you. It looks like that. It was I'm sorry. It was yeah, it looks scary, but it's how it works. You know, if you work with textures, you probably are ready to see the most scary things in this world. Yeah, so it looks like that. We have some color filling here. We have the cloned hair here. If you want to grow like hair in Blender for this model, like you have seen in our demo video. You probably want to remove everything except the skin color from the texture, and then you probably want to remove the eyes polygons, and then install some like balls in here, and then apply a texture to them and whatnot. Most modelers probably would want more detailed ears, because like now it's, let's see how they look. They look like that, and sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not what artists want. And yeah, and here we have our old texture again. What next? What next? Let's say we have many cameras. Let's create a new scene. Let's save anything, because who needs saving? We are brave people. Yeah, let's say we have photographs of someone taken with different cameras, but the person was keeping the neutral facial expression. That's like one of the cases that you can encounter. So, for example, we can probably go here and go here, take those photos. Here a couple of words of, yeah, we have expressions here. So let's try to find the most neutral. We don't have neutral faces here. Okay, let's see what we have. Just a moment. Okay, let's present. It's a really rare case, I think, when you have many different cameras but still neutral face. So let's just jump into a case when you have many cameras, many different cameras, and facial expressions, right? So we go here, and let's say you took some images from the internet. There's a lot of them, but wouldn't need any every photograph. And those aren't taken from the internet. It's our friend who kindly agreed to take part in our process of making demos and stuff. So we have many different photographs. Some are neutral, by the way, but they are all different, like different aspect ratios, different zoom levels, anything like. And here's one important thing, that if you shoot something with a zoom lens, you basically shoot something with different cameras, because let's see, let's try to look at it, how it works. For example, what's wrong? Come on, what's wrong? Sometimes programs don't work. Let's say, yeah, now it works. Here's your sensor of your camera, and here are the lens. And pretty rough, but I think that will work. And this is the image that you get through this lens. And this is, for example, 50 millimeters. And the person will be like standing here. So here what you have at 50 millimeters is, so let's project it here. It works like usually, not usually, but all the time in the reversed way. So you lens reverse the image, but that doesn't matter right now. So the person is here. It stands like that. And if you change the zoom level, the person's, perhaps this is another lens, the person will probably appear like, it's probably not a good explanation, but I hope you will understand. I wasn't really practicing it before. And okay, the person will be, this is like another lens, let's say. Let's say this is a different zoom level, like that was 50 millimeters, now we have 70 millimeters, and now we see like this part of person. And this basically means that the sensor you get, it will be, if the sensor is larger, but it stands here in the same plane. I have this person here and here. So yeah, basically what it means is that if you have different zoom levels, like this is 70 millimeters, this is 70 millimeters, this is perhaps 50 millimeters, and yeah, you basically have different cameras with different sensors. Let's return from this awkward explanation to the Blender. And in this case, we don't know what the camera is. So Blender, our add-on in Blender, automatically detects that there is no EXIF information. We don't know anything about these photographs and any of them. And then it turns on the focal length estimation. So you don't need to think about it if you don't know the camera settings. If you know camera settings, for example, if we say that on this photograph we have, I don't know, 70 millimeters, we can turn it on, off, and type it in manually. Or we can just use it. There are cases where, for example, let's add another photo from here. Let's see what we have here. We have EXIF information, but the photograph is rotated. And usually we take the information from EXIF to rotate the photo automatically, so you usually don't see such things. But for some reason here, the information about rotation was lost. And we can see in this image that first the camera tells us that the image was 3000 by 2000 pixels, but the real size of the picture is a little bit different. So then we decided it was cropped digitally, and then we turned on the focal length estimation. But we still use the 35 millimeter equivalent focal length from the EXIF just as a start value. We start from 70 millimeters, and then we will estimate the real focal length. Let's start here. Let's make it more visible. Maybe use something like that. Because on dark shots, like bright mesh works better. And what we have here is, yeah, the camera will be estimated independently for each shot here, because in this case, we don't have, let's see another case. We perhaps need a button to remove all the photos. But let's just add some more. For example, we take again perhaps these ones. Yeah, you see we have those one digits here. What it means is that FaceBuilder included those photographs into group number 1. And what it means is that it works with these photographs. We detected it using EXIF. We see that those pictures are all different. We don't know anything about them, so they are ungrouped. Basically, they are having their own groups, but it's good to think that they are not grouped at all. And yeah, what we have here is our group, and those images will be used kind of together to estimate if we have estimation, focal length estimation in this group. The focal length estimation will work only in this group. Like it will affect pictures of this group. If we don't have focal length estimation and we know the actual parameters of the photo camera, it will be used only for shaping the model. Let's remove them from here, because those are real rare cases. I think if you have different photographs on different sources, they are all different. So it's better to either manually set up them or use focal length estimation everywhere. So what happens now is, let's make it standard, yeah, and a little bit more visible. Maybe not that much. And oh, maybe this will work here in without part. Yeah, it works like that better. We can see that when we move our pins here, first two pins, they just rotate the model, and third pin starts rotating the model in 3D. The first two pins rotate the model in 2D, third pin rotates the model in 3D, and when we add fourth pin, it still doesn't estimate anything. Yeah, estimation starts. You can see FaceBuilder is, with the fourth pin, you start shaping the model, actually shaping it. With the fifth pin, you see the estimation started, focal length estimation. And what we can do here is, perhaps we need to make it like that. We can see his ear. Thanks, Blender. Can barely see it here. That's the wrong place. Can perhaps sometime move the pins without mesh as well, because many people ask us if Blender or if our add-on uses the pictures in some way. At this point, no, we don't use the pictures. The pictures are here only for your reference. So FaceBuilder knows nothing about your photographs except the focal length that it's being estimated or type it in manually, and the pin position. So yeah, what changes the model is only the position of the pins. Let's say it's something like this. Let's take another color scheme and move this here. It's barely visible. And nose, yeah, nose. Parts. Sometimes the parts help. Sometimes this highlighting make it more difficult to see what happens. So you can always turn it on and off when you need it. And this is a pretty neutral face, so we don't need facial expressions here, which we are coming to slowly. And this is, I would say, again, it's a neutral head, neutral facial expressions. Sorry, and let's move here. And again, we are estimating the focal length here. Oops. And like that, like that, like that. Sometimes you just want to move pins at random, like putting them in random places, but usually it's better to know what you're doing. I'm pinning this person maybe I've pinned him 100 times perhaps already, so I'm just relying on my experience. And yeah, let's see what we've got in 3D. Like that. So we already have someone similar to the person photographs. Let's try to create a texture here and try equalize color, those the features. Yeah, we have those pictures selected. We wait a little bit. And what happens is your computer is working. Yeah, we have some texture here. You can see even not too rough transitions between the color of photographs, because if you look at the photographs, we can see it's yellow here, it's pinkish here, but our latest version of algorithm already handled it pretty well. Let's try equalize color feature. What it gives us is, I hope, something good. Something good. Let's yeah. Now it didn't work well. Let's try to make it worse, because we're having fun, aren't we? And now we are using equalize brightness as well. So what I expect here is, yeah, grayish something. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I think it will work better with our new algorithms in future. Yeah, let's see. Let's talk about facial expressions. There's. I just remind you that if you want good results with your texture, you want even lighting, you want minimal shadows, you want the person staying still, not turning anywhere, their head anywhere, and you're running around the person with the camera and taking photographs with the same exposure, with the same white balance, with the same what else? Focal length, of course, because there's no point to take pictures with different focal length. You only make the process a little bit more cumbersome. So let's jump into the question about distortions. As you probably know, there are no perfect lenses. They all have distortions, and FaceBuilder expects you to have no distortion in your photographs at all. And usually it looks like, let's clear this mess. First, photographs are being distorted like that. So instead of being like even, it's not too even, but I think you get the idea. They are being like bulged, and the lines in the shot are going like that. And yeah, and the good thing about it is that in the center of the frame, there are usually minimum distortions. That's distortion, still a distortion. And if you have a heavily distorted lens, you can just place your actor, person, whatever subject into somewhere here. If the face is somewhere here, you can just don't care about lens distortions at all, because usually on all modern lenses, this area is pretty straight. Yeah, but I'd say that on modern lenses, usually this area is safe. And you only see distortions somewhere here, somewhere here. Let me show you the real example here. Hello, scary texture. Yeah, we have photograph like that. Let's say we want to see the frontal face, and let's see what happens with lens distortion. And you can see it was a lens, Nikon 50mm 1.4. It was produced in early 2000, like somewhere, maybe even in 90s. So it's not a perfect lens, but even here we barely can see any distortions on his face. Distortions are here or here. So it's like the lens of 20 years old lens. Pretty average lens, nothing special, and it still gives you like this kind of result. So you usually don't need to care too much about distortions, but if you want maximum preciseness, it's better to undistort your photographs. Or as another hack, you can use the focal length distortion correction from your camera, because usually modern cameras have the lens, or maybe lens for the modern cameras have built-in distortion profiles built in them. So if you shoot RAW, you probably have distorted images. If you shoot JPEGs, you have undistorted images already, because the producer of the camera sorted that out for you. Yeah. So what you can do about lens distortions in Blender is use this phrase Blender undistort on Google or whatever search engine you like. Or you can use this QR code. It will lead you to Blender community at stackexchange.com. There's a large post on how to undistort pictures in Blender using nodes, different nodes, like distort nodes. And then you can like import pictures in Blender, undistort them, export them as files, and then import those files, undistorted files, into FaceBuilder for Blender. So yeah, let's go to Blender again. And finally, we are coming to facial expressions, our newest feature. What it gives you is the facial expressions from Face Tracker that were first introduced into Face Tracker for tracking faces. And then we decided that we can add those expressions into FaceBuilder to let people create faces with photographs of people who were not standing. Like sometimes you just can't find proper shots, and you perhaps just have shots from a movie or somewhere else, and you cannot find a scene, a frame where the person is having neutral facial expressions. So yeah, you can use all facial expressions here in Blender. Let's say we will start with this photograph. And yeah, there are two ways to work with facial expressions in FaceBuilder for Blender at this point. In some cases, and there's no way to tell when you have one case, when you have another case. At least I don't know of such way yet. Maybe we will find something else in future, like how to know how to start. But then I think Blender, our add-on will make this automatically for you. But at this point, there are two approaches that you can, two ways you can take. One way is to first take the most neutral shots, or maybe not even neutral shots. Like, do we have any neutral shots here? No, they're all pretty neutral, I'd say. Let's take another set of pictures, and we go to we go here, and we go here, and I take those pictures. And what we do have is This is Gleb, our programmer. He, by the way, worked on new texture model that will be released soon. And now he's kind of working on porting face tracker, on unbinding face tracker from Nuke. So you can perhaps thank him for bringing face tracker to other hosts like Blender and anything else in the future. Yeah, so what do we have here? We have two ways, as I said before. First, we go through all photographs without turning on the facial expression. And here we have information about the camera. It's being taken from EXIF data, so we don't add the focal length estimation to the equation. So our facial expression and the model expressions in the model will be pretty precise, I think. Yeah. So what happens here? Yeah, we go through all photos and we try to ignore the expressions and use the parts of the face that are not being changed with changing with this expression. And usually those are the corners of the eyes. I'd say you can hardly move the tip of your nose. And you can move the corners of your mouth quite a lot, but in this shot, I'd say they're quite neutral. Here's a tricky part. We cannot say if Gleb has his mouth really closed. His lips are closed, but his mouth might be open behind the lips, right? So but let's pretend that he has closed mouth, and we said that his chin here, and perhaps you can hardly move your ears here, but you can move them here quite a lot. Some people can do this to quite a huge degree. And his nostrils, I'd say they are looking like neutral. So let's let's ship it here and move the ear here and move it here and fix the neck because it's kind of in a neutral position. And then we go to the next shot, and here we have perhaps not that dramatic change in expression. So we again rely on corners of the, I'd say again, neutral mouth, the eyes. We don't use eyebrows here because I don't know what's their neutral position in here. It can be shifted. Let's pretend his mouth. Oops. His mouth is closed. Yeah. To move around like that, what you need to do is to, just in case you didn't know and you were struggling using something like this, you can use this button here, and you can use this to zoom in, zoom out. But if you want to move effectively, you can use Shift button and the middle button on your mouse, which is usually a wheel button. And you hold the Shift button, press the wheel button, and you move around. You can use scroll wheel to zoom in, zoom out. And if you use only the scroll wheel button, you will go into the 3D mode. That's how Blender works, so we decided not to change it, not to override this. And yeah, let's move here, and here we have another silly expression. And I'd say we can place the eyebrows here because they look neutral. like that. I wouldn't touch his chin because it's somewhere, I don't know where. And let's tune this. And then we move on to this shot. Again, the nose, the corners of the eyes. The ear is quite safe to use. We don't touch his mouth here. Probably can touch this. We don't touch his eyebrow here. And yeah, like that, I think. His eyes are partly closed, but we don't need to close them here, because if we close them here, we just make them give them the wrong shape. And well, let's move. Don't move his nostrils. And another one. And oh yeah, let's pin this one. You can hardly change this, and you can hardly change this. I'd say it's somewhere here, even though I cannot see it. And the nose and this. I hope it's not too boring. We'll move on shortly. And you know, in shots like this, these ones, I'd recommend to switch off the neck so it doesn't give you the, like, it doesn't ask you to place it somewhere, because you see the head is at some angle here. You don't know what the angle, and in our current implementation, the neck is static, so you can't incline the head in our model. It will be as well change it in future, but for now you have to know that it's static and you can't move it. And here we can as well go and fix the parts of the face that can move and we don't want them to move. Sometimes it's worth to do, sometimes you don't need to do this, but if you're not lazy, you better fix them. For example, we see the mouth here is pretty neutral, so we don't want to be open, right? So we fix it with 2 pins and move it here, perhaps. Oops. Yeah, we don't move his eyebrows, but perhaps we want to keep those points here. And here again, we don't want him to move his lips, so we fix them. The nostrils as well. And what else? Everything's fine here. Oh yeah, let's fix his hand here and move this a little bit. And what we can fix? Oh yeah, let's fix eyes, because I'd say here they are in the neutral position. So let's fix them like that. We will make them more precise in a moment. And what here? Nothing, I'd say. And here, maybe just a little bit. No, his nose is perhaps not in the right position. Okay, and now we can turn on facial expressions. Nothing changes from the start. But once I move at least 1 pin here, the huge equation will be solved again, and we will get and facial expression will be taken into account this time. So we will probably see we can see some weird things here, like we'll see. So let's try. Yeah, he has opened his mouth. Let's move it now to the right position, like here. And let's move this cheek here. And let's move the chin. Oops, the wrong point. Let's move it here and perhaps move it here. Open his mouth properly. Sometimes when you move the mouth, you can get like those polygons here a bit skewed. It's better to keep them straight. If you see that the mouth is being opened in a straight way, like the mouth is open just downwards, not being skewed. So we'll fix this, and we don't even need to fix the eyes a lot, because when the expression changes, it changes everywhere, and FaceBuilder kind of knows. It actually knows, based on the statistical data that we had, how faces work with expressions. So when you, for example, close one eye, it a little bit closes another eye, and etc. Yeah, here we can see some weird things. His mouth decided to be a little bit off. So let's move it here, move it here. You see it getting there. And we are moving. Now we are skewing his mouth, so it's okay if you want to set a pin in that corner, but you don't know where the corner is. You can just open the mouth, set a pin here, remove this pin, and get some weirdness. Yeah, let's say it's a pretty difficult expression, I say, and I hope our deformation model in future will be capable of handling it with more preciseness. But at this point in time, we're having something like this, and his ear, and let's move the cheek here. Oh yeah, a couple of words on where to put the like where the edge of the model should be. It really depends, because as you can see here, it's a little bit blurred, so you don't really know, like in pixel terms, where the edge is, because we have some hair here, and it's blurred because the focus is somewhere here on his eyes, and his eyes are too blurred as well. Oops. Let's get back. Where are we? Yeah, here. So in terms of texturing, it's better to keep the model inside the contour. So when the texture is being created, you don't take the contour like outside. You don't get outside of the real face. So it's better to be a little bit inside. Or if you have like pixel perfect focused image that you can see the edge to every pixel, then you can of course place it precisely. But usually it's just enough to keep the model inside the face, like the edges of the model. And as you can see here, nothing's really changed. And I created another pin here. I don't want to move his ear. I want to move his brows, by the way. And yeah, that's fine, I'd say. No, here. And yeah, that's fine. And here, what do we have here? The mouth is being a little bit opened. We'll fix that a little bit. The mouth is a little bit tricky again, but it's getting better and better with every new release. So yeah, it's about updating it's better to update the add-on often, because in large production studios, people are afraid that updated software will break something in their pipelines, and that indeed happens sometimes. But we have like some extensive testing routines being run automatically before we release anything. Like when our developers push our code to the repository, it's being automatically tested before being built. And there are quality tests, there are like tracking, modeling tests, and any kind of test. So you can be pretty sure you wouldn't break anything. And we always keep the backward compatibility. So if you, for example, open an old project with a new FaceBuilder or a new node and nuke, everything should work. You can probably lose the ability to change something because I don't know, maybe we will introduce new deformation model and it will be incompatible in terms of changing it. But it will still work. You still have your results. You still can use them in the old scripts and the old projects because, yeah, we are trying to keep this under our control. And yeah, let's say that's all done. And what do we have here is, oh yeah, we're not done. Let's finish with this view. And I can see many questions, but it's okay to ask them. So yeah, if you have something to ask, we will shortly come to the end of the stream, I think. There are not too many things left. And so you can start spamming us with your questions. I mean, in the good way, no, of course, not in the bad way. We will love questions, we love feedback, we love our community, and it's really, like I said, it's really great to create products for community we have. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. And let's close his eyes a little bit here, a little bit there. And like that. I'd say we are done. What we've got here is our 3D gleb. And let's see how rigidity works, because I skipped it then, but now I think it's a good time to show how it works. Like you can see, there are some rough edges probably here, or there. Yeah, that's better. And yeah, maybe we want our model to be a little bit more smooth. And as we can see, the auto rigidity automatic algorithm decided that rigidity should be 1.65 etc. here. It's being automatically changed with every shot you pin. But let's say we want a smoother model. So what we do is we increase the rigidity. Let's say take 5. It doesn't changes anything right away, but if we move a pin and look in 3D, the model becomes a little bit more smooth. Maybe we can. Right, I forgot. It didn't. Let's say 5 again. Yeah, now you can see how everything moved. The model became a little bit more smooth, and now it's a little bit harder to change everything. And let's see what happened in 3D. Yeah, now it's quite. We removed all the rough angles and stuff like that. And let's say we want auto. Yeah, and if you feel that you moved pins, but the model is really doesn't want to change, you can lower the value. Like for example, let's say we want 0.5. Yeah, 0.5. And let's see what happens. Whoa, everything moved. And it's so soft, you can do whatever you want to it. It's like becomes a sculpting tool at this point in time, I think. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's quite ugly. So yeah, let's return the default value. It jumps back to 1.6 again. And yeah, now we've got our model. We can try to create a texture here again. Let's see what happens, what we can get of this model. And what we have in here is yeah, it's quite. Yeah, a couple of words on how do we call it? Persistent pinning. Yeah, you want not persistent. What was the word? Anyway, you want every little consistent. Yeah, that was the word. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired. Yeah, you want every part here to be exactly in the same place on across all photographs you have, because otherwise, like the texturing algorithm will take this, will decide that this is an eye, and it will take this as an eye and mix it with other textures from other views. So to get a precise and accurate texture, you need preciseness and consistentness in your pinning. So every part, basically every polygon, in an ideal case, you want every polygon you have here, like this one, to be in the same place on all photographs. Then you'll get like superb results. It's not always possible, and it's not always important, but it affects the texture. Let's make it a little bit smaller so we have less time to wait. Yeah, create texture. Okay. Because you see the views were not consistently pinned, and we have some madness happening in his eyes. Like now it's maybe a little bit better, but you again you can turn off eyes completely and install that's scary, and install the eyeballs here. Yeah, you can always do that. And let's say, yeah, we can replace the texture here, like export it, enhance it, and expand it, and we can place hair here using hair tool in Blender, and do all kinds of things. And here perhaps some people think that I want this expression, like I see the expression here, and I want it in 3D, and in 3D I have only neutral head. We decided to not release, to not let people do this at this point in time, because it works in a wrong way. We want to bring better technology like Fox blend shapes, for example. So you would be able to manipulate this model using Fox blend shapes, and you would change the expression in the right way, because the blend shapes, we use kind of blend shapes something internally to shape the model, shape the expressions. But here in this case, you're not only changing the expression, you are also changing the shape. And by the way, those kind of blend shapes we use, they are all statistically based. They are not human operable. So it wouldn't be like a good thing to work with. They are really uncontrollable by hand. Only heavy mouth can handle it. So still you can do this. There's kind of a hack if you really want this. Here's how to do this. You first create a clone with Alt D. Here will be our clone. Go back here, for example, and you see the model in 3D has changed. But it's a linked clone, so it would be resetted once you out of pin mode. And if you want to keep it selected in pin mode, again, that's a hack, and I wouldn't recommend this as a good way to get the expressions. But if you desperately want it, you can do this. And then you press Shift D, and perhaps you can press Y to move it. Oh no, maybe we can move it in X, like here. And here we have an unlinked clone. And here's another cool hack. We can turn it into blend shapes. Those are not good blend shapes because the shape is changing a little bit as well, not only the expression. But it works like that. You select the head. Let's move it here. Select this head and this head. And we go here into the shape case. And we join as shape. Use this menu here and select join as shapes. And then we go here. And then we change the value. Now you see you can change this model. It was used as the basis model. And yeah, you can clone it. You can, like, for example, press Shift D again here, the neutral head. And you can, for example, use this head again and this. And remove all that. And this is now a linked clone. So we just like this, and create shapes. And again, we can open this model. You see it changes a little bit. But we can animate it somehow. And this model isn't changing because it's unlinked. Right. Let's move on. And what we have now is... yeah, I had some points on taking photographs from the internet, if you ever happen to. First thing to keep in mind is that people change over time. Their faces are changing constantly, and you can see, I saw difference, like really significant difference in photographs of one person taken like across 4 or 5 months. I don't know. Sometimes people get a little bit thinner. Sometimes they are getting more rounded. Let's say it's called like that. And yeah, so people change over time. And some, like especially young people, they are becoming like they are not finalized, if we can say it like that. So they change a lot. If you know the camera settings, like for example, you sometimes can download photos from for example, pexels.com. And sometimes photographers do note the camera settings, like what camera was used and what focal length was. But this information is not stored into EXIF fields of the file, but you still know it. You can find the information about this camera, like for example, it's Canon Mark D, Canon 5D Mark V. You can find the sensor size, and you can, if you know that it's Canon 5D, it's roughly full frame, 36 millimeters, 36 millimeters sensor, and you can just use the focal length that was used. If this was like something of Micro Four Thirds family, then this is a crop factor 2. You just you take the focal length and multiply it by 2 and use this. Set up it here in camera manually. It will significantly improve your results. If you don't know camera settings, forget it. Just use focal length estimation. And when there's no EXIF information in photographs, but the photograph is turned, for example, it's rotated like that, and FaceBuilder didn't detect that the photograph is rotated, you can rotate it manually here, counterclockwise, clockwise. You can reset the orientation. You can do it here. As I said before, you can replace the file using this menu here. And what else? You can reset expression using this. For example, here, I don't like the result. I can just reset it. It will be neutral, and you start over again. You can reset camera position, so it's in the center. You can remove all pins from this view, like that, and then when you move it, when you are at the fourth pin, the solution will be reset. All the information that was used from this photo will be forgotten, and you start over again. And you can always undo this, but due to some Blender specifics, you need to press, for every action you do, you need to press Control Z and Command Z on Mac twice. Maybe we will somehow improve it in future, but at this point you need to press it twice. And what else? Yeah, another thing that I wanted to show you is our really the most experimental tool ever we built. It's not even supported. It's released as an open source add-on for FaceBuilder. You can go to GitHub to the account of Alexander Milovsky. It's the developer, the initial developer of FaceBuilder add-on for Blender, and we had a kind of a hackathon in our team when the isolation started, and we decided to have fun a little bit. So everyone was occupied with some funny thing for a week, and Alexander made FaceRig add-on. And now I show you what it does. It's released under a GPL license. It's open sourced. You can go there, you can improve it, you can clone it, you can do whatever you want with it. And we really are looking forward to the feedback you provide us, because we can perhaps make it really usable for people who want to bring some animation in Blender. For now, how it works. You go to GitHub, you download the zip file, and then you go to Preferences and Add-ons, and you install this add-on. Here, it's called KT FaceRig master because it's downloaded from GitHub, and master is a master branch of the repository. So it's the latest version. And yeah, you install this add-on, you switch it on, and what else? Let's remove it all. We don't need it. We need Gleb's head. And that's, yeah, like that. Yeah, what we have here is this tab, new tab here, and here's an instruction. It's not really clear, but I think we'll make it more clear maybe soon, just to make it a little bit more usable. But now I will show you how it works, how it really works. What you need, let's say for example that we have an animated tracked face from Face Tracker. Now it works only with Face Tracker, by the way. Here's our tracked face. Let's see how it works. It's tracked in Nuke. The model was created with FaceBuilder, and the face was tracked with Face Tracker. And now Nuke is really slow at playing videos for some reason. Well, it's caching. Now you can see the guy singing. And here what happens in 3D. Let's see again. This is the same model without ears, without the neck. And what we do is, sorry for everyone who is not familiar with Nuke, there's nothing special at this moment. Don't be scared with this mess. It's just this test project. We will need this model, and we create this right geonode. It's basically, nope, right. It's basically a node that writes geometry files, like 3D models, and we specify the path here to, I already exported it, but let's export them again, like singing ABC. You want to use ABC format because the animation is being transferred better with ABC, and we tried it with FBX, but at least in Nuke it doesn't work. And ABC works, and so let's say we save it as an singing ABC file, and we choose a GAVA format. HDF works a little bit worse as far as I can remember, and we execute. Execute means that we just save, and we save frames from 1st to 100. Now it's being exported, and done. Now we have this head from FaceBuilder, the neutral head. Let's see where it is. All right, it's not here. It's here. This is the neutral head. We will need this too as a reference. And let's create another red geonode, connect it to FaceBuilder, choose another ABC format. Here's the format is not that important, but it's better to keep the same format just to avoid random glitches. Again, in Java, we don't need cameras, we only need geometries in there. By the way, I didn't switch it off here, but that doesn't matter. Again, execute, we only need first frame because it's a static model. And we come to Blender, and here we import those files. Let's import the first. Where is it? It's here. First, the neutral head. It's here. Let's move it right. Now we have it here. Our neutral head. And let's import the second one. Singing model, and it's being translated, and it has a camera that we don't need, so we remove it. Nope, it wasn't there. Delete this camera and delete this camera because it had two cameras for some reason. Yeah, this model is placed in there, but we can reset it because, dynamic format allows it here in this object constraint properties. You can turn influence to 0, and then go to the item and reset everything, rotation, translation, all to 0. Then move it, let's see here. You see the sizes are a bit different, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter at this point in time. And Alexander said that at this point it's better to switch off eyes and the mouth parts of the model. So let's remove them. Mouth, by the way, is that's a mesh inside the mouth. And where are the eyes? We don't need them. Yeah. Now our model is a little bit holy. How George from Harry Potter would say. Yeah, we have the animated head here, and we have a static one. What we do now, we go to this tab and we select FaceBuilder head and generate rig. Whoa, it's here. Now we do skinning. I don't know why those are two different buttons. Perhaps it should be one button. And nice, the skinning was done. Now we can go into the pose mode and perhaps choose this bone, and yeah, we can see this. We can change everything, but we don't want to do this. So let's get back to the object mode. And what we do next is we select neutral animated mesh. Neutral animated mesh is probably not a correct wording, because here you want to select neutral mesh first, and then you need to select the animated mesh. And then you press neutral mesh to tell the add-on, to kind of set up the link for the add-on, which is neutral and which is animated. Now it's now they are linked in the right way. And then you select the animated mesh, and then you select the rig of the model, and then you press this bake animation, which is not exactly baking, but more like transferring. And what we can see now, if we turn on the texture as well, we can see where is it? The clap is singing like this person was. Cool. Now you can export this head, animated head, into a file, import it into Unreal Engine, anywhere you like to import it, and including this the bones. And here's the important button. If you want to export it, you want to press this export scene button. But before that, you probably want to press clear scene button to remove the models that you don't need in this case. And then you export scene, and it opens the predefined the export window with predefined options. So here you just type in the name, for example, singing lab FBX. Here you can use FBX because Blender works with it. And you export the scene. And you can import this model into any 3D software you like. Okay, I think that's all for today. Let's what? Let's see if we have any questions. And Andrew, our marketing head, is telling me that we have no questions this time. Cool. Perhaps I was so clear that everyone understood everything. I hope. We are always happy to answer your questions in our Discord channel and see your feedback. It's really it's invaluable because it helps us to make everything better. And you can subscribe to the stream newsletter. We will tell you, it's on the right. We will tell you when the next stream happens. The next stream will be about face tracker and nuke. And there are many other, like I say, there are at least 3 parts: the basics, the face replacement, and digital makeup. Maybe we will come with some real lighting, some advanced techniques. Yeah, I see Chris Stargazer joined late, and now he's being confused. And yeah, we in the very end we talked about FaceRig add-on. It's unofficial. You can download it on GitHub. You can improve it yourself if you like improving things on that are open source. It's open source. You can download it from GitHub. You can install it in Blender, and then you can watch the stream again. It will be like saved here, a recorded version. In the last part, I will tell you again, my recorded version will tell you again how to move this, how to operate this experimental add-on in Blender, and how to transfer the tracked motion, tracked expressions to the model of in Blender, like how to animate one model with another model. That's it. I see some thanks, and I really like to thank you too, because you're the best we have. And I think we are going to stop right now, right? So goodbye, everyone.